Right, so good morning from Mardin. We are heading to Diyarbakır today, just for a short stay, just for a night. It's the biggest city in southeast Turkey and also the biggest Kurdish city in Turkey. It's called Ahmed in Kurdish. And we're going in one of these. They're colloquially referred to as a dolmuş, which just means stuffed or packed. And these are the vehicles that ferry most people, most Turks, around Turkey on their travels. So let's head inside and hopefully this bad boy fills up pretty soon. Running to the dolmuş to the Great Mosque.
Evet, çok oldu. İkinci el uzun sorular duyunda. Evet.
Orada yoruşabiliriz. Hadi gidelim. So we've arrived in Diyarbakır after an hour's trip, and Gunesh, our friend we made on the bus, very kindly showed us to the most famous site of Diyarbakır, which is these walls. So these were originally built by the Romans. This was a Roman city originally, and they were extended by the Armenians in the, I think, 6th century. They're the second longest walls in the world, ancient walls that is, after the Great Wall of China. And you can see they're in this kind of black basalt stone. There's a lot of kind of basalt around here, and this rock is super tough and hard, which means it can withstand absolutely anything, including the earthquake that they had here last year, which unfortunately took many lives and did a lot of damage. So we're going to have a little quick walk on the walls before checking into the hotel. We're going to try and make our way up these stairs. You can see there's no railing here, so it's a pretty intense ordeal. So I'll probably end it here and see you at the top. So this is a view of the old city of Diyarbakır. You can see some of the buildings are actually quite new, and the reason for that is because as recent as 2015, these ones are quite new as well, they look quite uninhabited. There was a conflict here between the PKK, the Kurdish separatist group, and the Turkish government. And as a result of that, the Turkish government came into Diyarbakır and destroyed about a third of the town, which they have been rebuilding, but obviously not to the splendour of the previous old town that stood here. So around a third, unfortunately, no longer remains. Wish me luck on my ascent down this precipice. Right, so we're entering the Hashem Pasha Inn. So during the time of the Silk Route, this would have been a place that travellers, traders would have stayed here in Diyarbakır. You can see it's made with the famous Diyarbakır basalt that you see all around the city. Some people refer to this as the Black City. So we're going to try and find somewhere to have something to drink here. Kopruya ab, İngilizceyiz. Ama her şey Kolombiyalı. Evet, evet. Ve biz buradayız bir hafta. Evet, sadece Urfa, Antep, Mardin ve Diyarbakır. Evet, yarın Urfa'ya gidiyoruz.
Urfa'da güzel.
Evet, Urfa'da güzel. Urfa kebabı denemeniz lazım. Yani, this is, yani bu gözleme değil mi? Gözleme normal genel olarak dolmuş gibi, yani peyniriyle, kıymayla, evet, yani evet, yani Türk krepası gibi değil mi? Kurdish. Kosha. Tam kosha.
Maaşı.
Raşe.
Oh, cool.
Peynir nerede? İçinde mi? Görüyorum. Oh.
So let's get this bad boy going. You can see it's very thin layers of pastry, just a tiny bit of cheese inside, gluing it together. Teşekkürler. Hot, really hot, but really exquisite as well. I mean, the kind of saltiness of the cheese is what really makes that. And then you've got some nice little kind of salads on the side, just to kind of cut through some of that fat in the cheese. Really nice combination.
¿Qué son esas cosas que cuelgan?
No sé, la verdad.
No se ha visto ya bastantes veces.
Bu nedir efendim? Bu biber.
Evet, biber.
Kuru biber.
Evet.
Okay. Acı. Çok baharatlı mı?
Yok.
Ah.
Fazla acı değil.
Okay. Yani daha sonra denememiz lazım.
Tamam.
Teşekkür. Thank you. See, son como dried peppers. See,
Para cocina.
they're not very spicy apparently. See. Amca, bir tane ne kadar olur? 10. Okay. Buyurun. Teşekkür ederim. Alabilir miyim? Teşekkürler. Right, so you can't come to Turkey without having a simit. So you can see this is a kind of bagel-like bread with the sesame seeds. I think that must be yesterday's simit. I think these are simit leftovers because it's pretty tough, that.
¿Cuánto costó?
10 lira, about 25 pence. So I'll take the loss on the chin. Right, so before this was a Turkish or a Kurdish city, it was Armenian. They were the ones who built the famous walls that surround the city. And this is another thing that they built here, the Sup Girgis Church. So we're going to go inside and have a look. So this church has got a really interesting history. So the Christian population of the city was massacred in 1915, and then this ceased to be a church for many years. It was actually converted into a barracks in the 60s, 70s, and then after many years of struggle, the Armenian community in Turkey, what was left of it, succeeded in getting this reconsecrated as a church. They put a lot of money into renovating it, and yeah, I mean, it's absolutely spectacular inside, so well worth a visit. Right, so we're chilling out here by the Ongozlu Bridge, or the Ten-Eyed Bridge. It's an 11th century bridge that spans the Tigris, or the Dicle in Turkish, and this is one of the two great rivers here in the Mesopotamian Valley alongside the Euphrates. So you can't go to a big Turkish city without going to an Ulu Jami or a great mosque, so let's head into Diyarbakır. So this is not so interesting for the rules and regulations of the mosque, but because they're written both in Turkish and Kurdish below, as well as English and Russian. And it's the first time that I've seen Kurdish in a public place here in Turkey. Right, so we're in the oldest mosque in Anatolia. Rumour has it this was built on top of a Roman church. Actually, I mean, I think there are telltale signs of that. I mean, look at these columns here. I mean, they look very Roman, don't they? The mosque itself is quite different too. I mean, you've got a pitched roof rather than a dome, that again suggests that it's come from a church. This was built apparently by the Seljuks, so that was the Turkish dynasty here in Anatolia before the Ottomans took over. So we're going to go have a look inside. So we just spotted these really interesting and heavy basalt pillars that rotate, and the security chap was just explaining to us that if you can rotate these, it means that everything is fine in the world, and if you can't move them, it means there's a problem. So, by the looks of things, everything is fine in the world. So just walking around the old cobbled streets, and what's amazing is that everything, absolutely everything, is made of this basalt stone. Well, I say that, commentators curse, and now we've got some brick. So we are now in the Delil Erhan, or the House of Evidence, and this is a place from the 12th century when Diyarbakır was one of the big stops on the Silk Route. It's called the House of Evidence because this is right near the gates of the old city, and if you arrived here, it was evidence that you'd arrived in Diyarbakır, and you could have yourself a nice rest with your camels and your silks and what other wares you've got. And as you can see, people are still resting here today. Right, so this area of Turkey was badly affected by an earthquake last year. Diyarbakır wasn't as badly affected. A lot of the basalt held up quite well, but as you can see, some areas have unfortunately been affected. Apparently there were 4 or 5 houses here. We were just talking to a greengrocer next door, and all the people have had to be rehoused because this area was quite badly damaged. Right, so we're now headed into the St. Solomon Mosque. Solomon obviously being a Jewish king, but he's actually revered in Islam as well as being a prophet, so that's why it's got his name. This mosque actually predates Islam itself. Again, it used to be a church. Over there are some tombs that you can see people praying to, because they say that there are Sufi saints there, and we're going to go inside and have a look and see what we can find. So we're now in the mosque toilet, and it's not often that I film the toilets, but this is probably one of the oldest, and it's interesting that I've seen. So look, you just went to kind of squat down there. There's running water here. You do your business in there, and then just give yourself a little wash, usually with the left hand, with that. I've never seen anything quite like it, to be honest. This is the view from outside our hotel window, and you can see things are livening up outside the Great Mosque. Right, so this is the Sur area, or the walled area, and this is the heart of the old town. And it just seems to get busier and busier throughout the day, reaching a crescendo around the 8 in the evening. Teşekkürler. Ellerine sağlık efendim.
Afiyet olsun abi. Nereden geliyorsunuz efendim?
İngilizliyiz, turistleriz.
Ben başım.
Evet, İngiltere'de.
İngiltere'de
İskoçya'da yaşıyoruz. Evet.
Evet, eyvallah. Hoş geldin.
Teşekkürler.
Afiyet olsun.
Teşekkürler.
Right, so this is called raw kebab, and that's why I was asking the chap if it's got meat in it or not, and he says no, it's just a tomato paste and kind of ground vegetables. So yeah, a bit fragrant, a bit spicy. Yeah, it's got kind of a paste-like texture. It's cold. I think it might be an acquired taste, you know. So I'll keep eating, and I'll tell you what I think afterwards. Most famous kebab house in Diyarbakır, and it is a far removed experience from its English cousin. We've got here a range of salads accompanying that kebab. So we've got here the churkofta that I was speaking about, some onions with sumac, some grated tomato and onions. We've got the roasted onions over here as well. They love good onion in Turkey. Some bulgur in mayonnaise here. And then the main dish itself is the Adana kebab. So this is a sweet minced meat served with the chilies. I'm not sure if I'll go with them or not. Let's try the meat itself. There's quite a lot of fat in that. It's very tender, very smoky as well because I've cooked it on an open charcoal grill. Yeah, absolutely delicious.